Hello and welcome to MPX. My name is Spade and this is a show where I talk about a specific Pokemon and its potential in the competitive Pokemon X and Y scene. And today's Pokemon of the day is, surprise surprise, Mega Latias. And let's start things off by looking at the base stats, or actually before that, a disclaimer again, since Mega Latias at this time as I'm uploading this isn't officially released yet, there may or may not still be some changes to it. Who knows, but we're going at with the information that we have access to at this time. So let's start things off by looking at the base stat changes compared to the original Red Latias. So we can see that Mega Latias has... Mega Latias, always confuse the two. But anyways, Mega Latias has plus 20 to its attack, plus 30 to its defense and special attack, and then another plus 20 to its special defense. So you can see that this thing is a really defensive, specially hitting Pokemon. So these are the attributes that you definitely want to take advantage of. It's good natural bulk and it's high special attack. So let's start looking at some potential movesets that you could run on this thing. Pretty similar to the original Latias. You know, it's bulky and it can you know, still hit relatively hard, but Mega Latias does have the higher stats, which it can definitely take advantage of. So with the high special attack 140, we could go all out attacking with Mega Latias and give it Draco Meteor and Psyshock. You know, two really good useful stat moves, and with Psyshock you can go like pseudo mixed, hit those especially defensive walls from the physical side of the spectrum. And then for coverage you want to have something like Hidden Power Fire for those pesky steel types that would otherwise wall you. Or I guess you could even think about running like Hidden Power Fighting, so you could perhaps do some damage to Tyranitar, and then to like, I guess Bisharp would be a thing that would be able to take your stab moves otherwise, so that could also be an option. But then again, Hidden Power Fire hits Bisharp and then other steel types that want to switch into you, like Ferrothorn and stuff like that, Fortress even, in some cases. And then for your final attack, for coverage, you may want to have Surf. And then if we think about an EV spread, here the Showdown is suggesting a simple, fast special sweeper spread of 252 in speed and special attack. Really self-explanatory, maximize your speed and your damage output from your special attack. But then actually you want to throw the extra EVs rather to your defense or even to your special defense, depending on your preference, but not to your HP, because again, if you're playing singles like I often tend to do, Stealth Rock is a really common move, so you want to have an odd number of HP because of that. So rather just throw the rest to your defenses, whichever do you prefer. It doesn't really make a significant difference, but on some cases it may come in handy. So there is that. But anyways, you could also put some sort of support move on your last slot. Like if you want to keep your bulky Mega Latios healthy, you may want to give it like Roost. And usually the reason why you want to have Roost over Recover, this is actually kind of a funny story. The reason you want to have Roost on Latias as opposed to Recover, which it learns by level up, is because how Roost works, as you may know, if you have a flying type and you use Roost, you basically lay on the ground and you lose your flying type for the turn that you use Roost. But it doesn't actually work like that for Pokemon that have Levitate. So in some instances you may actually be able to fool your opponent by going for Roost and baiting them to go for the Earthquake, because Levitate will still give you the immunity to ground type attacks even if you go for Roost. You do not lose Levitate when you use Roost. So in some cases you might be able to bluff and you know, just simply fool your opponent to bait them into going for the Earthquake, and still, despite them doing so, they will not be able to hit you with that Earthquake. So that's a little trick that you may want to use if you're running Roost on your Latias. So definitely want to use it over Recover for that reason, because this is something that a lot of people don't know. And you know, it's kind of a weird thing. You would think that levitating Pokemon would lose the Levitate, but that is actually not the case, because it's a weird mechanic like that, but something that you might be able to take advantage of in some cases. Or at least, I believe that's how it works. I haven't actually tested this in Generation 6, but that's how it has worked in the past, so I would believe it still works like that. At least nobody has been able to confirm otherwise so far, from what I can tell. But anyways, rambling and moving on, you could also run like Defog on the last slot. If you want to have, you know, if you hate those entry hazards and you don't have any other Pokemon that could do that, and your team has potentially like a lot of Pokemon that are grounded that would be weak to the occasional spikes and sticky web, and you know, even Stealth Rock. If you don't have a spinner or defog user otherwise, you may want to slice in defog, because Latias is a Pokemon that forces a lot of switches, so it also has a lot of opportunities to use defog. And defog, of course, is a move, I think, from Generation 4. That's where you can get it. So if you have Pokemon Bank, that's the only way you're gonna be able to get that in game. But that is definitely an option that you could run. And then I guess you could also run like, you know, what other super art moves you got? Healing Wish. Healing Wish is an option that you could go for. You know, sacrifice yourself to heal one member on your team. You could have it as a final option. First you hit really hard, but once you get hit down to a point where you can't use Latias anymore, you might be able to pull off the Healing Wish and support your team. Because Latias, Mega Latias has that really good natural bulk, so early game you might be able to take a lot of hits, but when you get to the point you're whittled down, you may just pull the Healing Wish out of your Arceus and be able to surprise your opponent. So that might be an option, but I guess in general Roost would be good, and then, you know, have Surf, perhaps for coverage. You could even slice Surf in here. So that's an option. Then another thing that you could run, let's actually make another Mega Latias in here. Alright, there we go. And Calm Minding set, definitely a possibility. Calm Mind with 3 attacks, like Dragon Pulse. And on the previous set you could definitely run Dragon Pulse over Draco Meteor, if that's what you prefer and you don't like the special attack drop from Draco Meteor, so that's an option. But on the Calm Mind set, definitely want to go with Dragon Pulse over Draco Meteor, and then go for Psyshock for another stab move, and for the opportunity to go Pseudo Mixed, and then for the last coverage move you could go with Hidden Power Fire again, or then Surf, whichever you prefer, how your team works. If it doesn't have any fire type moves, then it's a good suggestion to at least have Hidden Power Fire on your Mega Latias. But if your team has lots of fire types, which again is not that preferred, but if you do have a lot of fire types or fire type moves, then you may not want to have Hidden Power Fire and have something else like Surf for your coverage. And then with this you could go with like 252 on your speed, maybe have a plus speed nature, minus attack, so timid again. But then because you're running Calm Mind, you may want to just put rest of your EVs to your HP to make it as bulky as possible, but still having the speed to get off that Calm Mind and then, you know, potentially pull a sweep. So this way you can, you know, maximize your sweeping and defensive potential. You'll be fast enough to outspeed most of the major threats, but you will still have a good enough bulk to take some hits and, you know, utilize Calm Mind. and then you may want to throw the rest of the 4 EVs to your defense again, because you'll be calm mining anyways. Alternative spread, of course, would be like bold nature and then max defense instead of max speed, but then you will not be able to outspeed many things, and you know, Mega Latias being at 110 is able to outspeed a large majority of the metagame, so speed is something that you may want to take advantage of. But if you don't want speed, you may want to just go with max defense and then, you know, calm mind, so you're overly super bulky Pokemon that is able to take hits from the special and the physical. Yes, a mix of both. Special, yeah, I guess if you want to call it the one thing, you can take hits from the special spectrum, from the physical and the special side. I don't know what I'm saying, I'm rambling. But anyways, some alternative options that you could run perhaps here is lose one of the coverage moves and slice in Roost, so you can you know, take advantage of your great natural bulk, and since you're calm mining up and getting more special defense, you may want to keep yourself healthy and again just go for the Roost. But then if you're worried about something like status moves like Toxic or Thunder Wave, and you want to shield yourself from those, you may want to put in your like a substitute, so that could be an option, and then turn Mega Latias into a mono attacker. This of course is a problem when fairy types are around, but if you can you know, build a team around this thing and get rid of the fairies with other Pokemon, you know, that's how you play Pokemon. You have something that people often forget when running like a mono attacking set, is that, you know, people just say, hey, fairy types wall you, and that's true, but you have 5 other Pokemon with you, and that's how you usually want to play Pokemon. You have perhaps one, or that's one way to play Pokemon. You have one main sweeper, and then the rest of your team is based around supporting this main sweeper. So you build your 5 other members so that they take on fairy types very well, and then you dispose of those fairy types, and then late game, after that fairy type is gone, then you bring out that Latias, and then you're able to have a clean sweep, and then you don't need to worry about anything else. Once those fairy types are gone, you go for Calm Mind, you go for Sub, you get that added special defense, you have the Sub to get to dodge status moves, and then you can keep yourself healthy with Roost, and then you just spam that Draco Meteor. That is definitely an option. And let's actually go hop onto that Bulbapedia real quick. Look at the type effectiveness chart right here. Same thing as with Mega Latios, you know. Mega Latias is a Dragon and Psychic type, if I already didn't mention that. I think I didn't, but you know, it does retain the same typing, same ability. You know, there was a lot of speculation, especially about Mega Latias, that would be like Dragon Fairy with multi-scale, but that is all bogus. It has the same old typing, Dragon and Psychic, and the ability Levitate. So there is that. But defensively, you have that ever so useful ground immunity with that Levitate ability, and the key resistances to fighting fire, water, and electric. Grass and Psychic are also pretty nice. Then you need to watch out for these 6 types, especially the first 4, and you know, lots of bug type Pokemon pulling that U-turn on you. That's definitely a problem. But these 4 are the more common offensive types that you see, especially in the overused metagame. We're talking about Smogon Tears. So these are the kind of moves that you need to watch out for. You know, common Dragon Claws, Outrages, Ice Beams, Ice Punches, even Icicle Crash, stuff like that. And Shadow Ball is kind of a thing, especially now with the Steel type being nerfed. And is there anything else significant here? Not really. So we move on. But you have these useful resistances here and the ground type immunity, which you can take advantage of, especially on a bulkier Calm Mining set where you're maintaining you know, your bulk, and you're planning in to just stay in for a long time, and you know, finding those opportunities against these kind of common types is definitely something that you want to take advantage of. especially if you're running like a mono attacking set that, you know, tries to be as bulky as possible, tries to avoid status, all this stuff. So that's how you may want to roll. But anyways, I guess going more in depth about counters and checks and stuff like that, you know, especially with a set like this, fairy types are definitely going to be a problem, so you want to get rid of them, and then you still have the option to like run the Psy Shock and then like hidden power fire on this thing if you want to, but you know, it's all a matter of preference. Back in Generation 5, the mono attacking Latias was the most common set, so that's why I thought I would at least mention it, because it's a really good set, but you just really gotta be careful with fairy types and you know, perhaps build that team around it to get rid of them. But if you really hate fairies and you're not ready to take them on with the rest of your team, this might be the set that you may want to be running with Calm Mind and just 3 attacks, or maybe you can slice in that roost if you so desire. But you know, those especially bulky fairy types are definitely a trouble to Mega Latias, but as many of them are especially orientated, because there's only one physical fairy type attack, you definitely with Calm Mind you might be able to take advantage of it, and then you might be able to take those Moon Blasts and what other special attack, Dazzling Gleam and Moon Blast. Those are the only fairy type attacks on the special side that you really see at this time. So especially now with Calm Mind, you can buff up your special defense and be able to take those hits and then retaliate with something like Psy Shock, because the main fairy type that you see in OU is like let's see, you have Sylveon, Togekiss and Clefable. Most of them, usually they're running more especially defensively orientated sets, so you go for Calm Mind, you take that Dazzling Gleam or whatever, you go for Psy Shock, and you might be able, of course those things are still pretty good ways to stop Latias, and even Latios in some cases, but with Psy Shock you can hit them from the physical side. With Calm Mind you might be able to take a hit from them, so it's all good. It's all good. And then of course Tyranitar is still your arch nemesis, being able to checkmate you with the Crunch and Pursuit combination it tends to carry, so that's one of the reasons why you may want to run like Hidden Power Fighting, but it's still not that strong, you know, outside of that. And even Tyranitar, you know, is able to take it, especially since Hidden Power got nerfed in this generation, so that's definitely troublesome. So Tyranitar is still something that you definitely need to watch out for. Unlike with Latios that is able to go mixed. I guess even with Mega Latias you have that base 100 attack, but Mega Latias unfortunately doesn't have access to Dragon Dance. I think the only physical attacking boosting move that it gets is like Home Claws, and you know, Home Claws is not really that great. And still with the base 100 attack, it's compared to its special attack 140, it's so mediocre that you can't really take advantage of it as well as you can with something like Mega Latios that I talked about last time. But yeah, let's give it a Latias side. The main problem always with the Mega Evolutions is that they cannot have any other kind of items, but definitely with the added bulk that Mega Latias has to its name, that alone is a reason to use it over the regular Latias, and the buffed up special attack is also nice. But again, something to keep in mind is that Mega Latias or regular Latias hits harder with the Life Orb compared to Mega Latias with the Mega Stone. Always confuse the two Latis, stupid Lati twins, but it tends to happen. But yeah, something to keep in mind is that it does indeed, with the Life Orb, not to mention specs, but mainly Life Orb is more of a common item, at least on Latias. It does hit harder than the Mega Latias with its respective Mega Stone. So the Mega Stone doesn't compensate for everything. So, but the added bulk is definitely a great thing. 120 defense, 150 special defense, which you can even boost further with the Calm Mind, and that is definitely great. And then there's also a gimmicky option that you could run Reflect type. That's one way of dealing with Tyranitar in some cases. Of course, Tyranitar has superpower sometimes, so even that, yeah, it's a really gimmick. It's a really gimmicky gimmick. But that's something that you may wanna run in some cases. The Reflect type, of course, changes you into your opponent's type, which is, you know, as you can imagine, really gimmicky, but it's an option that you can run on Latias. One of the few Pokemon that can actually run that move. It has really small support. Not many Pokemon learn that move, so that's an option that you could run, but not really recommended on a daily basis. Fun gimmick, but that's all that it really is. You should stick to Calm Minding pretty much and all-out attacking. Those would be the best ways to really utilize Mega Latias. And I think that will do out of this episode. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I feel like I guess I could have gone more detail about the counters and the checks, but you know, there's Tyranitar and Fairies. Those are the main ways of dealing with Mega Latias. And still, I feel the main problem with Latias is the coverage moves, because if you're going with Calm Mind 3 attacks, you know, that's nice, but as you don't have leftovers, you don't have any kind of recovery, so you may want to slice in that Roost, but then you lose more coverage, and then you're gotta pick your poison for the coverage moves. You could have Roost and then Hidden Power Fire and Dragon Pulse. That's definitely an option if you don't want to get walled by Steel types. But the main issue is the coverage moves. What do you want to really have on is, and no matter what you have, you still kind of get walled by things like, especially with this set, you still get walled by things like you know, Tyranitar, so that is definitely an issue. And you know, Fairy types, like I said, you can take them on alright, but they are still definitely an issue. But yeah, I'm not gonna ramble anymore. Those are my thoughts and rambles about Mega Latias. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and let me know what would be your way of disposing of Mega Latias, and what do you think? Does Mega Latias have potential in the OU tier? I'd definitely say that it will be rising up to the OU tier once it gets released. At this time, I think it's regular Latias is at the BL, and the thing that really hurt Latias why it's not in the Smogon OU at this time is simply the Fairy types. But now that you got the increased bulk and the increased special attack with this beast known as Mega Latias, I think it has potential to be rising up to the OU tier. Then again, people might still be using more of Mega Latios, but I definitely at least say that this thing has OU potential, has a place in the OU tier with its incredible massive bulk. That's why you want to use a Mega Latias, because of its awesome bulk and you know, better special attack. But anyways, at this point I'm rambling and repeating myself like I always tend to do, so that as always is a sign to end the episode. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below and I will conclude this episode, and I will check you guys next time with something different. Until then, it is Spade rambling and signing out. Peace!